want you to think back because there's a lot of parents out there that ask me about this all the time. Um, Device technology, video game addiction, like all of that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to think back to when you were playing video games and it was like really excessive. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what that was like? Like how much were you doing? What was it interfering with? And
do you feel like you at one point in time you may have had a gaming addiction?
I would say a little bit, yeah. I feel like video games, if you don't like if someone's not on top of you about it and you just get to like play whenever you want, do whatever you want, it can definitely affect a lot of things. It can affect your sleep schedule, which is not good at all. You're not getting much sleep, or you're sleeping throughout the day and playing all night. It can affect your eating, to where you're not really eating meals, or you're just snacking, which isn't good for you either. And then you're just like sitting at the screen all day, playing games, which also isn't good for your eyes, obviously. But I feel, and it also just like affects your social life, because you're playing on a computer. You're not going outside and hanging out with friends. You're not really hanging out with your family much. You're just sitting on the computer playing games, and that definitely affects you, because then you're just like you'll walk past your dad to get a snack and you'll go back to your room and you're not really saying anything. And I feel like it can kind of hurt those relationships a little bit, and kind of make your family or friends feel left out, because you're playing the game so much. But overall, it's not very good. But one thing Dad always tells me is everything is okay in moderation. So like if you play for like an hour or two a day, then like that's cool. That's playing video games is how some people like socialize, if you want to say, like with their friends that have maybe moved away, or you don't really get to see much in person, but you can like maybe play a game or two of Call of Duty with them, or Minecraft, or whatever your forte is, just as long as it's getting scheduled, I guess. Like you can play for a couple hours and then you gotta take a shower, you go to bed, stuff like that.
So you have had some experience with lack of sleep, just snacking, not eating properly.
Yeah.
Do you think that you even lost, some of your drive for sports and whatnot, and even affected your work at times?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely made me lose drive for things that I really enjoyed. Like you said, for like sports and work, those are two things definitely. But I feel like it also can affect your school. For sure, because you're really tired during the school day because you stayed up late playing video games. So now you're like sleeping through all your classes and whatnot, not getting your work done. And it can just make your life stressful because you're just like playing games and not doing your schoolwork, and then you have to do everything the last minute, or you have a potential to get fired from work because you don't want to go to work because you just want to stay home and play games. So I feel like it can definitely affect a lot of things in your life.
And so, Gino, talk a little bit about like how did it all turn around, because that's definitely not your situation anymore.
Right? Yeah, well, and before you go there, really quick, I mean, there was a point in time where you used to tell us that, well, there's YouTubers out there and video gamers out there that are making millions of dollars a year. I can't wait for that money. Yeah. And you're getting all excited about it, and and you're following. And in fact, I mean, you've done this, and there's millions of kids out there, which is why some of these guys are making this kind of money. But millions of kids out there they're not even playing video games, but they're just watching other people play video games for hours.
Yeah.
So it's not even gaming, it's even video screen addiction and whatnot as well. And then there was a point in time where you talked about, we're going to talk about some of the things you want to do, moving forward in college and kind of some of your aspirations and some of your goals. But there was a period of time that you really wanted to be an architect, and then architectural engineering as a field to go into, and really looking at, building some of these games and whatnot. And that's kind of changed gears now.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of that and how you did make that change. And now you have different goals that are not even in the same arena.
Yeah. I definitely had a problem with that. And then having a bonus mom that is a PhD and kind of like was like, hey, this isn't good. Like, let's fix this.
That's a player-headed degree, right?
Yeah.
Playing games. It's in a song back in the day. It's back in my time. Sorry, Gino.
Gino knows
okay.
every song ever made.
Almost. But after changing, or after stop playing for a long period of time, and kind of just taking a step away from it, it's kind of given me the opportunity to fix my sleep schedule and get a lot of sleep, especially as a teenager. And that's even whenever people don't play video games, they still sleep a lot. But it allowed me to fix my sleep schedule and kind of get my head on straight again, and build that relationship back up with my parents and my family, and friends. Started eating the good meals again that Dad makes, the steak and asparagus and all that stuff. And then it kind of just allowed me to that period of time, I felt was when I was playing games a lot and stuff like that, it also allowed me to get burnt out from it. And obviously the way I got burnt out from it wasn't good, but getting burnt out from it is good for me personally, because it allowed me to pursue other things that I enjoyed, which is cars, going to car shows with Dad and Grandpa, or going to the drag strip and watching all these fast cars race, or even just starting to work again, getting a job and going to work, and focusing on making money and going to school, and kind of doing the things I should have been doing. And then it also allowed me to kind of be more involved with my family and with my life, because as that was happening, you guys were starting or getting a couple months in with next steps that you guys were building, and kind of just watching it grow and watching Dad do business stuff, and that also kind of pushed me into, instead of wanting to sit in front of a screen all day, but being a businessman and going and making deals, or kind of just just watching you guys create a business and kind of doing your own thing, being your own boss. I just thought that was really cool, and I was that's something I want to do. Or if I don't have the opportunity to make my own business, or just being that high up guy and kind of overseeing everything, and just watching the way a business or a corporation runs. I just think that's kind of cool.
I will give you one little bit of knowledge really quick. When you own your own business, you may be what they call the boss, but you're really
The slave.
the slave.
Yeah.
Everyone else is your boss because you're completely responsible for everything to happen. So
okay, so one of the things I want to put out there, Gino, because you said you stopped doing it and then you focused on all these other things that you talked about. But do you remember how we got you to stop doing it? Because that's another question that always comes up is do we make our kids quit cold turkey? Do we just take it away from them? How do we do this?
Yeah, so I want you to talk about some of the things that you went through that we made you do, and some things that Dr. Whalen encouraged you to do? That mom made you encourage you to do?
So yeah, I remember some of it. I remember it was taken away for a week or two, or maybe a little bit longer.
And that was, and how tough was that? Because I mean, you had this computer system that you actually, you asked for all these parts for Christmas one year, and so you built from scratch, from just parts, your own computer, which I was really impressed by the way. Totally cool, and it was awesome. It had the red lights inside and all these things that you still have it, but so that had to be tough in itself.
Yeah, it was tough. I definitely had those urges to like want to play, and or like get on and like play with friends.
Tell us how you felt about, like, what did you think about us? Like, did you hate us? Were you mad at us? Were you pissed at the world? I mean, like, what did you feel?
I mean, honestly, I was upset. But then as it started going a little bit, I realized like this was a lot. Like they're trying to help me, guide me back on the right path.
I was gonna say I could hear a song playing over and over again in your bedroom, by one of your favorite people, Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
parents just don't understand.
So I remember, we actually did it kind of more gradually than that. It may have felt like we completely took it away from you, but if you remember, it was like in your room. So then we moved it to the hallway, the desk in the hallway.
Yeah.
And so instead of it being like behind a closed door, actually what we started with, if you remember, was you're not allowed to be in your room with the door closed anymore. And so that way we could see like how much is he actually playing? Like we were collecting data essentially. That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I remember going upstairs to check on the babies while they were sleeping, or they would always wake me up because they were babies and they would cry in the middle of the night and your light would still be on. It's like 2 a.m. And so that's when we it was like, well, there's something going on here. Why is his light on? So it was, you're not allowed to be in there with the door closed anymore, even when you're sleeping at night. You remember when we started saying that to you? That was part of that. And then after we got the data we needed to like really understand what was going on with you, because if we came and asked you about it, we would never get a straight answer, right? No. Hey, Gino, what time did you go to bed last night? Hey, and you were finding ways to just lie to us essentially, right? And so then we moved it from your room to the hallway desk. And so it was way out in the open. But then we kind of figured out that you were still finding ways to play really late at night. And so, but it was more structured that way. Because I don't know if you remember this, but I said, look, you can still play your video games, but like these things have to get done first and then you can have it. So you have to come to me and tell me when these things have been finished, and then we can allow you to go on there.
Well, there were times that you were also doing your homework on your computer, but you really had, and you may have been doing your homework to some degree, but you also had the gamers you were watching also playing at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And I'd walk past and I'm like, this is not homework. I know you're not doing homework right now.
Flicking real quick back and forth.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where after we like made those gradual changes and got you kind of out of that environment of isolation in a dark room with the door closed, and then we still saw what a problem it was, that's when we decided actually to just cut off all access, because we knew at that point that was the only thing that was going to help you like detox from it.
And also, one thing that I have never done very well that I really want to really kind of force myself to do, but one thing that MK made you do was she made you do something at night before you went to bed, which would kind of help you go to bed also. What'd she make you do? Or not really make you, but what she encouraged you to do, I should say, because she didn't make you do it, but...
reading and writing in a journal. What are the things?
So what'd that do for you?
It helped me. It was kind of cool too, because I feel like I was writing a book about myself. And so I would write down, like what I did that day, goals I had, and then also kind of just like a mini prayer at the very end. So that's what I would write in there. And then I would also read a little bit, and then I don't know if you guys have ever like read in bed, but it like makes you so tired, so then you just like fall asleep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're kind of getting running short on time, so I wanted to just really quick tell us about. I'm going to go to two different ways. Tell us some things that kids really struggle with in high school, things that parents really should know about. We've talked about some of these things probably on previous episodes and whatnot, but of course you're not watching these. But what are some things that you think kids really struggle with in high school?
I feel like it is being accepted by other people, and also like phones is something I feel like, or like technology, because we have laptops too to do work on. But I feel like those are kind of the two things that people struggle with.
What about phones and technology is the struggle?
You know, like people are always on their phone in class, and a lot of teachers these days in high school, they just like you know, like when you watch the old shows with teachers, they're like, put your phone away, whoosh, you know, like, and like hit them with their ruler, you know. But
Open
nowadays,
the drawer up. Okay, bring me your phone.
Back in the
Yeah.
day when you could hit a kid with a ruler, there was no such thing as a cell phone. But
yeah, but
good example.
You're watching too much Saved by the Bell.
I know.
Yeah. But like people are always on their phone, and like not really focusing. Like there's obviously like kids that focus, and then when they're done, they get on their phone.
So what about, I know one thing that you've always complained about and whatnot, and even had, some struggles even at one point in time, but you used to come home all the time, and first thing you had to do was run to the bathroom. I'm like, Gina, why don't you ever use the bathroom at school?
Oh, the bathrooms are terrible at school.
Why?
Like they always smell so bad. They're always so dirty, and there's always people just hanging out in the bathroom, and it's awful. There's always like graffiti on the walls, like people drawing on it in Sharpie, and there's like never any toilet paper in there. So even if you wanted to go, you couldn't.
But the one specific thing you used to always tell me is that you couldn't stand going in there because it smelled so bad because people would do what?
Oh, people would vape in the bathroom.
Yes.
Yes.
Vape nonstop in the bathrooms, right?
Yeah, it would smell like a fruity.
Ashtray.
No, it would smell like a fruity junkyard. It would smell like a junkyard with like citrus fruit spray.
So what are some other things? Is there, we've talked about before, is there sexting going on? Are there, other things that, parents-
Self-harming. I think about
self-harming,
kids
yeah.
who self-harm.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see some kids that you can kind of tell they like self-harm. And I mean, there's definitely a lot of kids that sext for sure. Especially with all the types of social media nowadays.
So have you ever been sent as sex by a girl?
Yes.
And what was the first time, or what grade were you in the first time that happened?
I think I was in 8th grade.
8th grade?
Yeah.
Not even before that?
I don't think so.
Oh.
You remember 5th grade, don't you?
Yeah, I remember 5th grade. Remember you had some girls send you a picture?
Oh, I don't even remember that. But I mean, I like pretty much all the kids I grew up with elementary school had phones, so I'm sure.
So, I mean, let's be very clear here. This isn't anything like you prompted or asked for. It's just the way that some girl chose to relate to you and chose on her own to do this, right?
Yeah.
In 5th grade, 8th grade, whatever we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so, why do you think that happened?
I honestly don't know how to answer that.
So let's
Why
talk
do
about
you
this.
think kids think that's okay to do?
Oh, I don't know. There's definitely girls and guys that out of nowhere just like.
Have you ever
somebody-
had a friend that wanted to show you something that somebody sent to them or whatnot?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely those types of people too. I mean, I guess I don't know why people do it. Like, I don't know what drives someone to send an unsolicited, like, or like out of nowhere just send you something. But I've definitely had friends that would like keep the picture, and
Think it's funny.
yeah, think it's
And they're
funny or show
cool.
somebody else or
And
Okay.
so if we didn't talk to you about these things, like how would you figure it out? How would you make sense of it all?
how would I make sense of what?
Like what would you do with it? Like there's a lot of stuff that's going on like in the walls of your high school, right? We're talking
Yeah.
about self-harming, drugs, sexting, video game addictions. I mean, we're talking
18.
about so much stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you cope with it all? Like if we weren't here for you to talk to, because I know we talk to you about this stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we weren't those kind of parents. How would you deal with it? Like how are other kids having to deal with this kind of stuff?
I there's definitely some kids that like hang out with their like or at their friend's house a lot, and maybe that's like one way they kind of like stay grounded, I guess, is by other people's parents, because other people's parents can definitely be a role model for people that even have parents. But I mean, whenever like if you guys did not talk to me about this stuff, then I don't know what I would do. I mean, I feel like the people that their parents don't talk to them, I feel like they definitely have, and not all of them, but I'm sure there's some that have one kind of have one of those things going on. And I mean, I guess some of them can talk to their counselor, to kind of like figure out what they should do or whatnot. But other than that, I don't know.
And I mean, I just want to put it out there. Like we come to you, right? You'll come to us sometimes, but we come to you just as much
Mm-hmm.
with like, hey, do you know about this? Like, or I just, I think on today's episode we need to talk about this, and then we're like, Gino, so this is the topic that we're going to talk about today, and how is it affecting you, and what do you know about it? Right? We always come to you whenever we realize like you actually haven't come to us on that topic, but we know it's a real thing in the real world, and so we need to make sure we touch base with you on that.
Yeah.
Does that make you uncomfortable?
No.
Okay, good.
Well, and I will say that I think there's a lot of times that you're really kind of scared to even come to us with some of this stuff because you don't want to disappoint, because you're definitely one that seeks approval and whatnot. You definitely have a big heart, and you really care what people think, especially us. And so I think there's been some times where it's been really hard for you to come to us, and if we haven't had come to you, it could have been something that continued on, or that could have became a problem and whatnot. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So, and I think the response you get a lot of times, is also a key factor as well. You don't ever take. I don't think you ever see me really taken by surprise on some things, and there's a different way that we handle things that can kind of help. But even though you may not like it, so.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to talk about really quick, because I think this is something that at least half the kids out there in your school deal with. And sometimes it can be not so bad thing. It can be a good thing. But you're a part of a very big blended family, right?
Yes.
So you've got an awesome bonus mom over here. You've got a great bonus dad at your mom's house. Before we kind of talk about that a little bit more, I do want to know, so who's your favorite, mom or dad? No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that. I already know the answer.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. But anyway, so your mom and I have always really gotten along very well. We've always managed by exception. We've always been, just willing to work together. And really what's best for you. So you've had kind of a week on, week off schedule for the most part, ever since you were very, very young.
Mhm.
And there were times you were at our house more. There were times that you maybe spending a little bit more time at your mom's house. You were also involved in sports a lot.
Mhm.
I coached you, so you may have spent more time with us due to some of those things. But um, what are some of the good things that you have experienced in a blended family?
I feel like one of the good things is it's kind of like two different environments. Um, like whenever I'm at your house, it's like a bunch of little toddlers and little kids screaming and running around all day, and then whenever I go to mom's house, it's girl drama with my two teenage younger sisters and cheerleading and all that stuff, and they're a little more country over there. So I feel like it's
Definitely two to the spectrum.
yeah,
You
definitely.
definitely got more country and then more like definitely like city, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And, it's, you've got, besides all the extra gifts at Christmas time, you've got multiple Christmases with different grandparents
Mhm.
from all different sides and birthdays and all that. Um, I know that, you do have younger siblings, even on your mom's side, you've got younger
Mhm.
siblings, but even on our side, you've got even younger siblings.
Mhm.
So, I heard one of your teammates on the tennis team yesterday even making a comment about younger siblings and how they're just a big pain in the butt and so annoying and whatnot. So, what are your thoughts? How do you deal with all that? Because you've got an 8-year-old sister at our house, a 3-year-old, and an almost 2-year-old,
Mhm.
and sometimes you have to play, big brother babysitter too. So,
Yeah. Um, I don't see it as a bad thing. Um, I personally enjoy it. Um, at my mom's house, they're older, so I can like play sports with them and whatnot, um, and like connect with them on that level, and also like kind of like I feel like being the oldest, it gives you the role of like being a babysitter for sure, and helping the parents out, but also kind of like guiding them. And like one thing we talked about like this whole episode is like guiding other or like being that like peer role model. Um, so it kind of like gives me that role of like I'm not mom or dad, but I can still help you, like no matter what it is. Um, so I like that role personally. With the two teenage sisters, like sometimes I can't help you with that, um, but and then at dad's house with the little with the babies and the 8-year-old sister, it kind of gives me a chance to like hang out with the little like the little babies that like they don't really know. Well, at our house, they know a lot of stuff, man. They're smart, but it gives me a chance to kind of like just like play, um, like to play with them and also like laugh. Sometimes you gotta laugh at them sometimes. Like,
so you love them to death. They can definitely be annoying sometimes.
yeah, they can definitely be annoying, but they're funny and
all kids are annoying sometimes. Just so
yeah,
you know.
yeah, for sure.
All right, so definitely some good benefits and whatnot. What are some of the hard things that parents really should know about? I mean, I can tell you right now that I'm not perfect. I never have been perfect. So you make me sound like I'm such a great dad, and I mean, I really appreciate that. I hope you're not doing it just because you are on camera, um, but what are some of the things that are a struggle with a blended family? Because I know there's some things that are hard and
Mhm.
whatnot.
I feel like some struggles are, um, every kid goes through that phase. Even like babies, like they want to be with dad more, they want to be with mom more. Um, so I feel like that's one thing is that like I want to stay at dad's house more for a little. Like I want to stay at I want to stay at dad's house for a little bit longer, stay at mom's house for a little bit longer. Um, and not every kid has the luxury of having like the parents like communicating and being open to like just help the kid. And so I've been very lucky. I can just like voice like my opinion. Be like, I want to stay at mom's house a couple more days. All right, that's cool. I want to stay at dad's house a couple more days. All right, that's cool. Um, and I also feel like another struggle is going back and forth can whenever you're younger can be a hassle. I remember like sometimes I'd have to go be at school earlier than I have to be there, because that's the only way like my mom can take me, or um, you know, like there's just like there's different things.
Packing some of your stuff up
Yeah,
that you really
packing
want to
stuff.
have at each house.
Yeah, like packing stuff.
And some kids don't even have the ability to do that. Some kids, you can't take other stuff from one person's house to the other person's house and
yeah,
whatnot. I know it's you know, just with you, when you built that big, huge computer tower we talked about earlier, you know, you
mhm,
packing that up with your monitor and all your cool computer stuff. And
yeah,
Yeah, back
Every
and forth.
single week, you would take
Yeah.
it down, put it back up.
yeah. That is definitely hard. Um,
a little bit easier now that you drive and you can.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely easier going back and forth whenever you can drive.
I remember when you were 11 years old, I asked you, I said, tell me what the hardest thing about having divorced parents is. And you said it's just so annoying having to go back and forth between the two houses.
Yeah.
That's like what bothered you back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely see that, especially as you get older. I mean, when you're younger, it's not as bad. But
Yeah.
anything else you can think of?
Not really. No.
So the key to parents and blended family situations, communication,
Mm-hmm.
being flexible with the kids, thinking about more about the kids than themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So if you could leave parents and even potentially other peers out there, what are some of the things you just loved about high school, things that you just, you know, embrace, things you want everyone to know about, and maybe some things that you actually did to help yourself get through those last 4 years of high school?
I loved playing sports. Obviously, that was definitely a highlight of my high school career. Was playing sports and making friends that way, and then being in band freshman year. That was fun, but I'm also glad I, you know, left. And you know, just like meeting new people is always fun. And then I guess just like focusing on classes, and you can like using your friends to help you is definitely it was fun because you could like study together, but it also helped you in your classes. But that's all I can really think about, was just hanging out with your friends, playing sports, and you know, just like being able to, and then as you get older through high school, being able to like yell at the freshmen a little bit. That was definitely fun too.
All right. And so you've had, so your goals going to college, you definitely have goals going to college.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you want to major in?
Business.
Business.
Mhm.
All right. Do you know what college you're going to yet?
I'm applying at UT at Arlington.
Okay. So you didn't have bonus mom over here pressuring you to be a doctor.
No, definitely not.
So you had your dad pressuring you to be a businessman.
No.
No,
No.
not at
I don't
all.
think he got any pressure from us.
Not at
No.
all.
Even when he thought he was going to like be a professional gamer, we were like, okay, oh, let's just go with it. Just don't judge. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you think that's really kind of helped you in some of your growth and whatnot as well? Just not having those pressures. Just
I feel like whenever you don't have pressure to do something, I feel like it gives you more room to explore your options, for sure. And also like kind of gives you like you don't like, they're not pressuring me to do this, so I like it lets you think a little more, and kind of give like the best answer you can give is whenever you're not being pressured into it.
awesome. So you don't have to have all the decisions right now today at 17 years old.
No, definitely
Okay.
not.
You don't know who you're going to marry yet.
No,
You don't know where you're going to live.
definitely.
Okay, good. Well, Gino, we really appreciate you just coming on here today, being open and honest. I really love having you on the show, obviously.
Thank you.
And we're so excited for all the things you have ahead of you in the future. You're going to do great things. God has great plans for you, and we know that already. So thanks for joining us today for the Parent Survival Kit. And if you have any questions or anything that you need at any time, you can always reach out and send us some comments. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
I want to say one more thing. I just want to say congratulations, class of 2021. You made it even through
Yeah.
COVID. It's a pretty big.
And you actually get a real
accomplishment.
graduation this year.
Yeah.
I know, but I can only bring 9 people. So that's also another struggle of having a blended family, is picking who's going to go to your graduation.
All right.
Well, when you have 15 brothers and sisters, yes, that can definitely be a challenge.
Yes.
All
for
right.
sure.
Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next week.